My sister testified against me, my ex-wife's lies ruined my life, and I lost my kids. Then, a new witness proved she faked it all. My ex-wife and I went through what I expected to be a fairly typical amicable divorce 5 years ago. At the time I was 40 years old and she was 39. After 15 years of marriage we had just grown apart. It wasn't anybody's fault, really. We both felt it was time to move on, and we decided to split everything 60-40, including custody of our 2 children, who were 8 and 6 at the time. We even discussed utilizing a mediator to make things simple and straightforward. I assumed we were managing things like grown-ups. Honestly, I was very proud of how mature we were. But gosh, I was so mistaken. Things took an unexpected turn. My ex suddenly began making ridiculous charges against me. She accused me of being financially abusive during our marriage, claiming that I had complete control over the money and provided her an allowance. She said I was emotionally abusive and a neglected father. She even hinted at financial impropriety, like if I had been concealing money or something. Nothing was true. The fact was that we had always had joint accounts. I never restricted her spending or limited what she could do with our money. In fact, I encouraged her to handle the finances with me since I believed we were a team. And as for being negligent or harsh, it simply wasn't me. I adored my children and was always active in their lives. Throughout our marriage I had never heard her complain about any of this. It seemed like she was rewriting our entire past to depict me as a nasty person. Then things got worse. She filed court filings accusing me of being a distant father, verbally assaulting her, and controlling her every move. She twisted little details from our marriage and made them into something nasty. It was like living in a nightmare, when the person you trusted the most abruptly transformed into someone you didn't know. What made it much more difficult was how my family reacted. I assumed they'd at the very least have my back. They recognized me. They had recognized me as a spouse and parent. Surely they'd see through the falsehoods, correct? Wrong. They sided with her. My own parents and siblings trusted her above me. They said things like, "Well, she's always been so great with the kids. And why would she lie about something this serious?" They didn't seem to care about hearing my viewpoint. My sister even testified against me in court. She said she had witnessed me being domineering, which was completely crazy. I'm not sure if she truly believed that, or if she was simply trying to keep my ex happy, but her remarks were the final nail in the coffin. Based on her evidence and my ex's charges, the court sided significantly in her favor. I lost nearly everything. She was granted full custody of the children, and I was only given supervised visitation. Supervised as if I were a threat to my own children. On top of that, I had to pay far more in alimony than we had previously planned. The whole thing devastated me. It wasn't only that I lost my children or received an unjust settlement. It was treachery from all sides. My ex, my family, and the legal system. It seemed as if my entire universe had been ripped apart, with nothing I could do about it. The aftermath of everything was just awful. For the following several years, I focused on cleaning up the pieces of my life and being strong for my children. I only saw them every other weekend, so each departure seemed like a fresh wound. It was awful, but I promised myself I would not give up. I began capturing everything. I saved every email, chronicled every encounter, and even dug up old financial documents from our whole marriage. I wanted to be prepared in case the truth came out. At the same time, I began treatment. I needed help dealing with the betrayal, solitude, and ongoing anguish of losing not just my marriage, but also my family's support. Meanwhile, my ex was prospering. She had played the victim so brilliantly that the community rallied around her. Everywhere I went, including the grocery store, school drop-offs, and community gatherings, I felt judged. People would look, murmur, or completely shun me. Some even had the audacity to confront me, asking things like, "How could you treat her and your kids like that?" It was frustrating, but I stayed quiet. Arguing wouldn't help, and I didn't want to start any more turmoil that may harm my children. To make matters worse, she launched a blog about surviving an abusive marriage. She talked about how courageous she was in leaving me and reconstructing her life. She portrayed me as a monster, and people fell for it. She received pity, attention, and even applause for her bravery. It was frustrating, but I forced myself to stay focused. My children were my anchor. They were the only thing keeping me going. Then, last month, everything changed. My ex started seeing a guy she met at her therapy group. At first I didn't think much of it, but then he came out of nowhere with some stunning facts. It turned out that my ex had told him how she made up the abuse charges. She admits she did it to protect her future and ensure she had full custody and financial support. Apparently, when this gentleman noticed she was beginning to control him in the same way, he decided it was enough. He presented me with text messages and recorded chats in which she openly boasted about how she had deceived my family. She'd been tugging the strings the whole time. She knew my family had a history of being protective, particularly after my aunt suffered financial abuse years ago, and she took advantage of that. She taught them all they needed to know to turn against me. Worse, she admitted to teaching our children to speak negatively about me during custody reviews. When I viewed the proof, I felt a combination of relief and wrath. Finally, the truth was revealed, but I couldn't believe how far she had progressed. I immediately submitted everything to my attorney. Now we're revisiting the divorce settlement. But that is not all. I've also chosen to pursue legal action against my family members. My lawyer feels we have a compelling case for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, particularly against my sister. Her misleading testimony contributed significantly to the negative outcome of my divorce. As you may guess, my family is completely shocked. Suddenly, I'm receiving sobbing apologies left and right. My parents kept stating that they were only attempting to protect someone they felt was a victim. My brother thinks they were also influenced and should not be blamed. My parents have begged me to abandon the case, claiming it will destroy the family. But here's the deal. How do I forgive them? Their acts did not merely harm me. They have cost me years with my children. They ruined my reputation inside our community. They abandoned me to cope with severe emotional pain. And I've spent thousands on treatment in an attempt to heal. It is not as simple as saying sorry. Sorry does not take away the sorrow or remove the damage they did. And now I must determine if I can ever completely forgive them, or whether they even deserve it. For the past 7 years, I have had to rebuild my life from the ground up. It has not been easy. My job suffered significantly as a result of my ex's claims. In a small town, word spreads quickly, and it is difficult to repair your reputation after people have formed negative opinions about you. Jobs that I was qualified for did not contact me again, and possibilities I had worked for vanished overnight. But the most difficult thing wasn't my job or the judgmental stares. It was everything I missed with my children. There were so many things I should have been present for. School performances, birthday celebrations, first days of school, and even simply reading them bedtime tales. Those are things you cannot get back, no matter how much time passes. The thing that touched me the hardest happened lately. My daughter, who is now 18, sat me down and asked why I hadn't fought more to be in her life. I didn't know how to answer. I fought. I battled with everything I could, but the system was set against me. Her remarks broke me because they made me feel as if no matter what I did, I had failed her. And now my family, the same folks who accepted my ex's falsehoods and turned their backs on me, wants to reconcile. They profess to recognize the folly of their conduct and wish to put things right. But, here's the deal. How can I win their trust again? What they did was not a little error or misunderstanding. These were purposeful decisions. They opted to believe her falsehoods without giving me the opportunity to clarify. They opted to testify against me, knowing that it may ruin my life. And it did. Even if I win this legal struggle, I know the scars they've caused will never be completely healed. The years I missed with my children, the harm to my reputation, and the nights I sobbed myself to sleep, wondering why my own family had betrayed me. You can't simply apologize and pledge to do better. So now I'm wondering if I'm going too far by taking legal action against them. Is this the only way to hold them accountable for the suffering they have caused? Part of me believes I have every right to pursue justice. They contributed to my life falling apart, and there should be repercussions. But another part of me worries whether this is only going to make matters worse. Will it provide the closure I need, or will it resurrect old wounds and cause further pain? I do not know what to do. I'm not sure if I should listen to my angry and wounded feelings, or if I should let them go and attempt to move on. It's difficult to envision a way ahead when the individuals who were supposed to support you helped bring you down. I'd welcome any suggestions or perspectives. Update 1. First and foremost, thank you all for your incredible support. Reading your remarks has been a lifeline during a particularly difficult period. Your opinions and suggestions have kept me grounded and reminded me that I am not alone in this struggle. Many of you had questions, so I wanted to answer them and provide an update on what has been occurring. Yes, I have complete evidence of everything, including the financial losses, emotional toll, and falsehoods used to destroy my life. The financial implications alone have been enormous. My lawyer believes that the overall losses will be about $400,000. This includes lost earnings from having to leave employment due to my tarnished reputation, therapy costs, legal fees from the first divorce, and ridiculous alimony payments. I'll never get that money back. But honestly, the emotional toll has been far greater. I've spent the last 7 years reconstructing my life, attempting to preserve any form of meaningful contact with my children. And let me tell you, it has not been easy. My daughter, who is now 18, recently asked me why I didn't fight harder to stay in her life while everything was falling apart. That completely shattered me. I battled with everything I could, but the system was set against me. I tried everything I could, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Things are finally starting to improve, and a large part of this is due to Aaron, not his real name, the man my ex began seeing. He provided a sworn document outlining months of discussions with her. He also released text exchanges in which she openly brags about how simple it is to turn my family against me. Reading those messages was upsetting. She portrayed me as naive, claiming I'd never fight back because I'd be too preoccupied with protecting the children. She even chuckled at how predictable I was. Aaron informed me he decided to come forward because he noticed her spreading the same type of falsehoods about him. Apparently, when he questioned her about certain strange financial activities, she began accusing him of being controlling. This was the last straw for him. He didn't want her to ruin someone else's life as she ruined mine. Since the truth was revealed, my children have started staying with me more frequently. They're outraged with their mother, but also perplexed. I've done my best to convince them that they don't have to take sides. It's been challenging though. My daughter asked me the other day why her mother would say such negative things about me. I didn't know how to respond without making matters worse, so I informed her that people make stupid decisions when they are terrified or upset. It wasn't the perfect answer, but it was the best I could do at the time. My son has also been more open recently. He informed me that when he was younger, he felt bad about spending our weekends together since his mother would become unhappy if he talked about it too much. That completely devastated me. No youngster should have to feel that way. The legal struggle is still underway. My ex's visitation has not yet been halted, but we have a hearing next week. My lawyer is optimistic that the additional information will result in modifications in the custody arrangement. In the meanwhile, I'm concentrating on restoring trust with my children and providing them with a feeling of stability. My family situation is difficult. My sister arrived at my place a few days ago, weeping and imploring me to abandon the case. She stated that if this becomes public, she may lose her teaching position because her school board is highly choosy about their personnel. She continued stating she was duped by my ex, just like everyone else. But I reminded her that she looked me in the eyes in court and lied under oath. She had an option, and she chose to betray me. When I brought this up, she accused me of being vengeful. Can you believe it? After all she's done, she's attempting to make me the bad person. My parents are now attempting to mobilize other family members to pressure me into abandoning the lawsuit. I've had calls and texts from relatives, aunts, uncles, you name it. They all say the same thing. Family comes first. This isn't what your grandparents would have wanted, or think about how this will look to the community. It's frustrating. None of these folks supported me when I needed them the most. None of them questioned the falsehoods my ex was telling. Now that the truth is out, they are more concerned with appearances than accountability. On the other hand, some of my ex's former pals have contacted out. Several of them confessed that she would joke about playing the system after drinking too much. They are now offering to produce statements detailing what they knew. One woman even apologized, stating that she had always had reservations about my ex's statements but did not want to jeopardize their connection by speaking out. It's upsetting to hear this now that the harm has been done, but I'm glad they're finally coming forward. The sympathy I've received from strangers online has been in stark contrast to the betrayal I've suffered in real life. Your encouragement has reminded me of why I'm waging this fight. Some of you have asked if I am concerned about the emotional toll this will have on my children. Honestly, I am. However, I feel it is critical to demonstrate to kids the importance of sticking up for themselves. I want children to understand that ethics and responsibility are worth fighting for, even when it is difficult. Update 2. The hearing went better than I expected. The judge became clearly agitated after hearing Aaron's testimony and reading the sworn affidavits of my ex's former pals. But the moment that really touched home was when they played a video of my ex laughing about how my sister would believe anything because she always wanted to be the family hero. Hearing that in court was weird. It seemed as if everything just clicked. My sister's willingness to pick sides and present herself as the rescuer made reasonable. At the same time, it exacerbated the betrayal. The judge did not hold back. They temporarily restricted my ex's visitation to supervised visits until a thorough custody review could be completed. For the first time in years, I feel like I've genuinely won. When I informed my children about the monitored visits, their emotions were divided. My daughter appeared relieved, as if a weight had been removed from her shoulders. My son, however, was more apprehensive. He's concerned about what this implies for his relationship with his mother. I'm doing my best to convince them that none of this is their fault, and all I want is for their life to be happy and stable. It's a difficult line to tread, however. I want to be open and honest with kids, but I don't want to ruin their perception of their mother. She's still their mother, and I want them to have a positive connection with her, even if it's only supervised for now. Shortly after the hearing, my lawyer received an intriguing call from my family's attorney. They proposed a settlement. The agreement includes a public apology, reimbursement for my treatment charges, and assistance with the legal expenditures for reopening the divorce case. At first glance, it appeared to be a positive stride forward, but there were some severe warning signs. They're providing far less than the damages we're asking. They also require a non-disclosure agreement. They basically want me to sweep everything under the rug. That does not set well with me. For years, I've had to live with the weight of falsehoods, being portrayed as an abuser while they played the part of concerned family members. Why should they be able to silence the truth just because it is inconvenient for them? I'll confess that I'm torn. Taking the deal would spare me and my children from more turmoil and lengthy legal fights. However, I believe that the truth should be revealed. My sister did not simply hurt me. She's a teacher who has testified in previous divorce cases, using her expertise to influence choices concerning children's lives. How many more families has she affected by her partiality and lack of integrity? Exposing what she did may prevent her from harming someone else in the future. My ex tried to undermine Aaron by suggesting he was a disgruntled ex-boyfriend. That exploded in her face when he presented communications from her pals to back up his claim. 3 of her closest friends have already testified under oath about how she used to brag about manipulating the divorce process. One of them even admitted to being uncomfortable at the time, but chose to remain silent in order to preserve their connection. It is encouraging to see them step up now, but it is also disheartening. If they had spoken out sooner, perhaps some of this might have been averted. Meanwhile, my folks are still attempting to negotiate, as they put it. They've started coming up uninvited at my house, leaving notes, and even attempting to use my children to deliver messages. It is exhausting. They're so concerned with maintaining their own image that they can't recognize the harm they've created. My father even had the gall to warn me that I should consider how this is harming your mother's health. I could not believe it. Where was all this concern while I was losing my career, reputation, and valuable time with my children? On a more positive note, several neighbors have begun to reach out now that the truth has been out. People who had maintained their distance for years are now popping by to apologize or give assistance. A few have even delivered dinners or asked me over for coffee. It's bittersweet, to be honest. While I appreciate the goodwill, I can't help but wonder what would have happened if more people had questioned the falsehoods earlier. I've also heard that my ex's social position is declining. Her social circle is dwindling as more people understand the truth. While I don't like her collapse, I can't help but feel a sense of vindication. For years she played the victim and lived on sympathy, leaving me to clean up the damage. She is finally confronting the repercussions of her behavior. My kids are adapting slowly but steadily. My kid has started spending more time with me, assisting with supper and seeking assistance on school assignments. My son is still reticent, but he's beginning to open up. He recently requested if we could make a birdhouse together. These simple moments remind me why this struggle is worthwhile. My children need to see what a stable, caring household looks like, and I am committed to provide them with that. I'm still on the fence regarding the settlement. On the one hand, it would provide faster relief and allow me to focus on rebuilding my life and improving my relationship with my children. On the other hand, fighting until the end might create a precedent. It isn't just about me. It's about demonstrating that lies and treachery have serious repercussions. For the time being, I'm taking things gradually. I'm relying on my lawyer's counsel and the encouragement of those who have stuck by me. No matter what happens next, I finally feel like I'm regaining control of my life. That alone is a success after years of feeling helpless. Update 3. After much thinking and discussion with my lawyer, I've decided to decline the settlement offer. It was not an easy decision, but here's why I did it. First, the settlement includes an NDA, which prohibits me from alerting others about the hazards of false testimony in divorce proceedings. I can't agree to brushing things under the rug after all I've gone through. Second, the payment falls well short of fully compensating for the harm my family has caused. It feels more like a ruse for them to save face than a genuine endeavor to set things right. But the main reason I rejected it was that my children ought to know that standing up for what's right is important. I want kids to understand that integrity and responsibility are non-negotiable, no matter how difficult. Today was our first court date for the civil complaint, and it was stressful. My family's counsel attempted to explain that they were also victims of deception, and that they should be excused since they meant well. Fortunately, the judge did not buy it. He emphasized that people are accountable for their own decisions, and that having good intentions does not justify perjury. Hearing that in court made me feel validated. For years, I've been persuaded to believe that I'm the one overreacting, so having a neutral person acknowledge what happened was quite beneficial. Aaron was crucial again today. He went on to explain how my ex would gloat about manipulating my family, referring to them as easy targets due to their protective instincts, and my sister's desire to be the family hero. His evidence presented a clear picture of her deliberate conduct, making it impossible for my family to argue they were innocent victims. He also provided additional proof, and now some ladies from the same treatment group are speaking up. They've discussed how my ex advised them on how to embellish their divorce settlements, including fabricating abuse claims. The district attorney is currently investigating probable perjury charges against both my ex and my sister. It's a bittersweet sensation. It's encouraging to see them face repercussions, but it's difficult to comprehend that it had to get this far. The children are doing better in therapy, but it's evident they're still processing a lot. My daughter startled me the other day when she asked to speak at the custody court next month. She wants the court to understand how much she enjoys spending time with me and how safe she feels in my home. Her comments devastated my heart in the best possible manner. It's unfair that she needs to defend herself like that, but it also demonstrates her strength. My kid, albeit quieter, has been asking more questions about the court process, and I've been trying to answer them as honestly as possible without overwhelming him. My ex is, of course, sticking to her narrative. She's claiming that I'm doing all of this for revenge. She even filed a petition to postpone the custody hearing, claiming that the stress of the legal dispute is impairing her ability to focus on the children. Thankfully, the court refused it, stating that with all of the additional information, it is critical to move forward and reevaluate custody. Meanwhile, my family is still working on damage control. My parents have started phoning extended family members, accusing me of pulling the family apart. I've had several calls and texts from aunts, uncles and cousins, all encouraging me to be the larger person and think about the family. It's frustrating. Where was this concern when they were all testifying against me and supporting my ex? It's as if they can't see their own hypocrisy. I'm done trying to justify myself to folks who won't see the reality. The reaction at my sister's employment has been one of the more unexpected developments. Word has spread about her role in the case, which is making a stir at her school. Some parents are even asking if someone who lied under oath should be trusted with their children. As much as I do not want to jeopardize anyone's career, it is difficult to feel horrible when her actions have caused so much suffering to myself and my children. If this makes her recognize the implications of her decisions, perhaps it's for the best. The community appears to be shifting as well. More neighbors and friends I haven't heard from in years have contacted me, apologizing for assuming the worst about me. Some people have even offered to provide character references for the custody court. I appreciate it, but it's difficult not to feel a little bitter. Where was this support when I most needed it? Still, I'm trying to stay optimistic and use their support to enhance my case. Throughout all, I'm doing my best to instill in my children the values of resilience and integrity. I've been talking with kids about sticking up for what's right, even when it's difficult. I've also taught children the importance of forgiveness, but it doesn't imply letting others off the hook. My daughter's willingness to speak at the hearing demonstrates her fortitude, and I applaud her for wanting to be heard. I know some people believe I'm being overly harsh by pursuing legal action and rejecting the settlement, but this isn't about vengeance. It is about justice. It's about making sure the truth is revealed and that no one else has to go through what I did. Family ties do not entitle you to wreck someone's life, and it's about time my family figured it out. I'll post again after the custody hearing. Thank you again to everyone who has supported me. Your encouragement has given me the strength to continue fighting for what is right. Update 4. It's been a while since my previous post, and I wanted to share some excellent news. Following a lengthy and stressful struggle, the judge found in my favor. I have been given primary custody of my children. My ex still retains visiting rights, but they are now monitored based on the facts provided at the hearings. It is a huge comfort to know that my children will have stability and a secure environment to grow up in. What helped the most was that my daughter courageously said how much she enjoys being with me and how protected and supported she feels at my house. My son, albeit quieter, spoke with his therapist, who then informed the court about how much progress he had made while living in a calmer, more organized setting. When the judge made his ruling, he acknowledged all of this, which felt like vindication of everything I'd battled for over the last few years. I won't claim this trip has been simple, but the weight I've been carrying for so long seems lighter today. My kids are smiling more, opening up and finding the tranquility they deserve. For the first time in years, I feel free to breathe and look forward to the future. Thank you for your support one last time. Whether it was a nice word, advice, or simply following along, knowing I wasn't alone meant the world to me.